Hello, and welcome to my very first lore video in this channel. Today I'm trying to explain that Revan from Knights of the Old Republic completely defied his own teachings in the light side ending of the game. Without further chit-chatting, let's go and see the holocron of Revan, the part he completely defied.
There can be no compromise. Mercy, compassion, loyalty, all these things will prevent you from claiming what is rightfully yours. Those who follow the dark side must cast aside these conceits. Those who do not, those who try to walk the path of moderation, will fail, dragged down by their own weakness.
As to be heard, Revan states that real power comes with accepting a transformation, which literally means letting the dark side corrupting your flesh. He calls that the ones who try to walk the path of moderation will fail, although in the end he himself was walking in this path. But to understand why Revan defied or left his teachings, we have to know his story, so here on now. A very big spoiler alert for those who didn't play Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Revan, or more commonly, Darth Revan, was a dark Lord of the Sith during the era of the Old Republic. He was known for being the hero of the Mandalorian Wars and the ultimate conqueror of the galaxy. Revan was very strong in the Force and knew many things despite his young age, making him an open target for the Jedi Order, who trained and armed him with knowledge at the very beginning of his life story. At the end of the Mandalorian Wars, Revan and his close friend Alec, who became eventually Darth Malak, traveled to the unknown regions meeting the Sith Emperor, Darth Vitiate. Vitiate was impressed by Revan's strength in the Force and made him his apprentice, ultimately tasking Revan with finding the Starforge, an ancient superweapon which created warships and battlecruisers non-stop. But instead of returning the Starforge to Vitiate, Revan kept it for himself, establishing his own Sith Empire, starting the Jedi Civil War and leading the Sith with his charisma and power. After 2 years of leading the Sith, the Jedi set a trap to capture Revan. During a battle with a small Republican fleet, a Jedi trap team led by Bastila Shan entered Revan's flagship to confront and capture him. During the duel, Malak fired upon Revan's flagship and injured him badly. Bastila, who was leading the Jedi to capture him, used the Force to save him, ultimately bonding his fate with hers. This is the beginning of Knights of the Old Republic. Revan wakes up in the Republic ship called the Endar Spire and fights himself out of the waves of Sith troopers, fully amnesiac of his past. He eventually meets Karth Onasi, a very skilled Republic pilot, and escapes the Endar Spire. But the escape pod crashes into the city world of Taris, where Revan and Karth make their way to rescue Bastila from a gang called the Black Vulkars. And eventually, after the bombardment of Taris, Revan is brought back to the Council on Dantooine, who retrain him and make him a Padawan again. In this meantime, Revan is changed a lot. He acts more compassionate and caring than he was during his time as a Sith, making clear that the old Darth Revan has vanished into somewhere into the dark regions of his mind. But every good thing has its end. During Revan's new mission to save the Republic from Malak and the Sith, he eventually falls in love with Bastila, but they get captured soon after their declaration of love. In the Leviathan, Malak reveals Revan his old and true identity and captures Bastila, leading to her fall. Bastila, who is now Darth Malak's apprentice, tries to bring Revan back to the dark side, but she fails quickly because the old Revan is completely dead at this point, and he won't betray his allies because his lover said so. Bastila leaves frustrated while Revan believes she can still be saved, a thought that would never cross the old Revan's mind. And so does it work? Revan somehow saves her from the dark side by using her feelings and his combined. And finally, Revan faces off against Malak and defeats him, marking the end of the very war he started. So it becomes clear that Revan did defy his own teachings, not only because of his amnesia, but because he grew into someone deeply aligned with the light side of the Force. He saved the Republic from his former best friend, and ultimately from the darkness within himself. Revan didn't abandon his teachings simply because he forgot them. He abandoned them because he proved that even the darkest soul can find redemption. This is not a story meant to glorify Darth Revan or excuse his past crimes. It is the story of a fallen warlord who rose from his ashes, reborn as someone wiser, better, and finally at peace.